Cookies are bad, right? Everybody knows that. My cousin calls me up and tells me, hey, Barland, cookies are bad. I'm like, why are you calling me Barland? But anyway, so why are cookies bad? They track your data. They destroy your privacy, right? Well, as an information specialist, it's important for you to understand how cookies work and how they might be used for that. Partly so that you can communicate to others what are actual risks of cookies and what are sort of overblown risks. There are certainly real risks there. Which is kind of weird because, wait a minute, it seems like there couldn't be any problem with cookies. First of all, how can they reveal my information? Cookies, my browser's only going to set a cookie that somebody else told me to write down. They're going to just make up some key value pair and ask me to write it down. So user number 4327. So that doesn't seem that innocuous. And then what I'm going to do, when I visit their website in the future, I'm going to go ahead and give them that cookie back. I'm just going to give them back the information they asked for. How could that be too bad? Well, one way, here, let me just describe one way. There can be several security flaws with cookies, but here's one way to leak information out that you may not have thought would get leaked out. Looking at third-party cookies. So third-party cookies is when I go ahead and say, hey browser, here's a response, please set a cookie, user ID is 4732, domain is not going to be my domain. I'm going to say the domain is going to be evilshoes.com. And now when you ever go to evilshoes.com, please give them user ID is customer 4732. So, well, now that's kind of weird. I mean, I'm the evil server here. Why am I telling you to keep information that if you go to evilshoes.com? Well, if nothing else, when you do go to evilshoes.com and they get the cookie number user ID 4732, maybe it's actually more than just user ID 4732. Maybe it's user ID is 4732 coming from happykittens.com. Then over at Evil Shoes, you go to visit evilshoes.com later, at night. You were going to happykittens.com during the daytime. And so you go over there and they're now getting information and they know that you previously talked with Happy Kittens. So now there's a little bit of collusion going on. This is still pretty far-fetched. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to send information to some other site that I don't know anything about. Well, I guess if I were a company that owned both sites, I might do something like this, okay? And that way I could identify customers that are visiting both my sites without ever asking or letting you know that I'm aware that you're the same person visiting both of those sites, okay? So third-party cookies can be a little bit of an issue there. There can be valid reasons to set third-party cookies, okay? So I mentioned Congregate.com. It's a place that centralizes games and so on. And lots of people, lots of different game companies all say, hey, I'm gonna provide my free Flash game on Congregate.com and do sorts of stuff. But my web server is over on fantastic, awesome flashgame.com. And so when you go to Congregate.com, they'll send you back a cookie for maybe this other site. And that can be okay. That's all part of how Congregate.com is working with awesomeflashgame.com. So it's not necessarily bad that a third-party cookie is always unwarranted and over the top. But let me give one more concrete example of how we might go ahead and leak some information we didn't want to. Say I'm looking at CIA.gov. And now, of course, advertising, which is, paying for our entire web presence, well, part of it. Advertising, all these sites need to advertise so that they can maintain their web servers. So MediaWiki.org, CIA.gov might both advertise, maybe not. And of course, they're not in the advertising business. They're like, I don't want to go out and have to call up people and say, hey, do you want to advertise with us? Please send us a JPEG and a URL and some descriptions, and then we'll put that onto our website. And then if people click on your site, please pay us. Oh, that's a lot. They have lots of other work to do, okay? They don't want to, so they're going to outsource all this. They're going to go to a web advertising company and say, hey, take care of all our web advertising clients. You find clients, you put the ads onto our website, and we don't have to mess with all that, okay? Just give us the revenue statement at the end of the month. Okay, so CI.gov, MediaWiki.gov, they might both outsource to lotofbanners.com. Lotofbanners.com is one of these ads that places things elsewhere, and they go ahead and they place they tell CIA.gov, hey, yeah, go ahead and use this JPEG here, and go ahead and, hey, by the way, go ahead and use these cookies when somebody goes to your page. Actually, I take that back. They don't even need to ask for cookies, because they just tell CIA.gov or MediaWiki.org, hey, here's a JPEG for people to use, they'll embed that in their files. These two organizations will embed those in their web pages. What happens when you request MediaWiki.org? You get back something that includes an image tag whose source is lotofbanners.com. Okay, great. What does your browser do? It got the HTML for this MediaWiki page, and then it says, oh, and I see there's an angle bracket IMG. I'm going to go off to some other website and ask for a particular JPEG there. Okay, so I'm going to go to lotofbanners.com. Lotofbanners.com will come back with a response, and what will that response include? Rhymes with ookie. A cookie. Yeah, so a lot of banners will come back and say, hey, by the way, please, if you ever visit lotofbanners.com again in the future, please include victim ID equal 47, I think is what I have on the page here. Okay. Great, you go around and browse MediaWiki. Later you go to CIA.gov, and they also happen to have an image from lotofbanners.com. You make a request for that banner on lotofbanners.com, and they say, oh, by the way, I'm getting a new cookie here, or I'm getting an existing cookie, victim ID equals 47. Hey, whoever visited us earlier, and hey, when we put out that victim ID equals 47, when we made up that phone number 47, that was for some IP address that was coming from coming through MediaWiki.org. It might know that, especially if it has the referring page attribute set on it. It might just know your IP address and nothing more about victim ID, who would assign victim ID 47 to. Okay, so a lot of banners now doesn't know my name, doesn't know my bank account, doesn't know all sorts of stuff about it. No, it just knows that I visited MediaWiki.org on one week, and then the next week I visited CA.gov. That's all it knows. The same person visited these two sites, and it knows which days when I went to each of those. Doesn't sound too bad. Well, it's not, except that if Lotofbanners is really used by a lot of sites, okay, then they can be putting together a lot of information. They can know a lot of the sites if they cover 10% of the web, they might know about 10% of the sites I visit, okay, depending on which exact sites happen to be their customers. So, are there any ad companies out there that cover a lot of the web? Oh, Google ads. Yeah, Google lets anybody's blog or whatever, you can go ahead and get a revenue site, and Google, they'll put ads onto your page for you, and they'll tell you what JPEGs to use, and they manage everything. Yeah, suddenly that one master company controls a lot of the advertising for a lot of the internet. And it doesn't have to be just advertising, by the way. Google Analytics, okay? So Google Analytics goes ahead and a lot of people writing their own blogs and so on say, hey, I want to track how many people are visiting my site each month, each week, when there are spikes in hits and stuff like that. Google Analytics does this all for free by setting a few cookies. Yeah, now we have this one site that's knows a lot about, they don't know who you are, but they know that you visited this site, this site, this site, this site, this site, this site, and that site. And you can actually put a lot of information together there. There have been researchers have gone out and taken just knowing what Google queries somebody makes. If I just tell you all the Google queries I've made over the last week, you're not going to really know much about me, right? Well, I Googled, hey, what is an Indian restaurant in downtown Blacksburg? Oh, probably somebody who lives near Blacksburg, likes Indian food. I Googled, what are the symptoms of the flu? Okay, might be somebody who's feeling a little bit sick. I went to Amazon.com and browsed different flu medicines. I looked at a pizza place, also in Blacksburg. I looked at a bunch of different things, and they have actually gone and just using anonymized Google queries, just by looking at the queries made from a single person, they've been able to pinpoint who that person is down to the address. So not always, not with 100% of all customers, but yeah, there can be enough information to give you, with reasonable certainty, a pretty good profile of who's using this. So that's why cookies sort of have a bad name. One very reasonable way, third-party cookies. If you turn off third-party cookies, that shuts down the door to a lot of these abuses while still maintaining the advantages attained by cookies. It can shut down some things we don't want to shut down that are valid but are done because people are outsourcing work or whatever. And of course, this is not the only privacy concern on the internet. You can read things about what the NSA can or can't do and what various cell phone companies gather about you and all that. There's a lot of information out there. Cookies are just one big part of this big picture, but you should be thinking and knowing about how cookies work to sort of think about, hey, how can they be used to get this information out there? And not just have this knee-jerk reaction that cookies are inherently bad. I mean, come on, cookies are yummy. Bad for you. Yummy. Bad for you. Yummy.